Good morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join our song leaders in singing our opening hymn, number 126 in the hymnal, Come Thou Fount of Every Blessing. Our opening words today are from Reverend Dr. David Breeden. We gather here honoring mystery, honoring discovery. We gather unafraid of Pandora's boxes, knowing that hope lurks always within. We join in the search. We join in the mystery. We gather here to embrace the unknown that ties earth to sky, that pulses through each vein, that sparkles in each gaze. We honor discovery, celebrating each question propelling us forward, each answer a newfound foothold. Every enigma beckons us to dance in the mystery, in the sacred interplay of chaos and order, of silence and resonance of words, articulated or unheard. Let wonder steer our course as we assemble, united in the mystery that weaves us into this wondrous tapestry. Good morning and welcome, everyone. My name is Donna Zimmerman, and I will be your worship leader this morning. Well, we have officially entered the holiday season. You know what that means. Crowded calendars, cookie exchanges, Secret Santa, and on and on and on. But today, here and now, you are in this space, and I invite you to let all the other stuff remain outside. Set aside your to-do list and fully immerse yourself in this moment of quiet connection with your spiritual self. If you are new to this church or our faith, you will find Unitarian Universalists journey down many different paths to discover our individual truths and find purpose and meaning in our lives. We don't have a mandated creed that we all must adhere to. Rather, we have a shared belief in the values of our denomination. You will find those printed in your order of service. We live those values in all the ways we pursue our own spiritual growth and maturity. We are proud of and grateful for our religious pluralism. No matter where we are on our own individual journey of faith development, we all strive to live our faith through what we do and not what we say we believe. I want to welcome any first-time or returning guests who are here with us. We're glad you've chosen to spend this time with us. We hope you'll feel welcome and will want to get to know us, and a perfect time to do that is to join us for the refreshments and conversation after the service at the back of the sanctuary. Also, be sure to stop at the welcome table at the entryway and pick up some information about our church and our denomination. If you haven't already done so, you're invited to sign in as a guest and get a name tag so that we can call you by that most precious thing, your own name. Feel free to ask any member any questions you may have, and they will be happy to answer you or steer you to someone who can. We offer regular Learn About Us classes if you're interested in finding out more about this church and our denomination. And if you're at the point of wanting to join our church, check with the volunteer sitting at the welcome table for information. Now, if you will please ensure that all of your electrical devices are silenced, we will enter into this sacred time together. As a church community, we make a commitment to each other how we will be in relationship together. We recite this each Sunday to affirm again our covenantal relationship. Please remain seated and join me in reciting our Congregational covenant, which is printed in your order of service. We covenant to engage one another with honesty, kindness, and respect, to value diversity, seek understanding of our differences, and practice gracious accountability with care, love, and empathy. We make these promises to those who are here and those yet to come, so that we may be a safe, welcoming, and beloved community of acceptance, learning, and transformation. Now please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our call to worship, the words of which are printed in your order of service. We light our chalice each Sunday morning as a symbol of our faith. I invite Alyssa Halliday to please come forward and light the chalice as you listen to the words of Adam Slate. When the great mosaic of humanity is treated with respect and dignity, when no person is threatened by hunger or war, when we have extended hospitality to the stranger and tended to the sick, when equity and justice reign everywhere, then we shall all be free. We light this flame to hold that moment in our spirit and in our minds until we can make this real. Thousands of years ago, people in the northern hemisphere were thought to have gathered wreaths of evergreen and lit fires as a sign of hope in the coming spring and renewed light. This custom was kept alive by Christians, and by the 16th century, the Advent wreath had gradually spread across many parts of the world. Today, Advent is a period of 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas. It's also the time when days are shortest, when cold settles in, and when people need the cheer brought by the promise of light and warmth. As we light one additional candle each Sunday, this Advent wreath symbolizes our waiting experience. Week by week, the candles remind us that the darkness of fear and the hopelessness recedes as more and more light is shed into the world. The flame of each new candle reminds us that more is yet to come. On this first Sunday of Advent, we light the candle of hope with the words of Macrina Wiederkehr, a Benedictine monastic. I was just thinking one morning during prayer how much alike hope and baking powder are. Quietly getting what is best in me to rise, awakening the hint of eternity within. May this candle awaken the best in us, connect us to the eternal, and give life to our hope. And lastly for today, I want to acknowledge the presence of the Menorah on our table. The Jewish celebration of Hanukkah, also known as the Festival of Lights, commemorates a great Jewish military victory and also the miraculous supply of oil for the temple. The menorah holds 9 candles, one for each of the 8 nights of Hanukkah, an additional candle that is used to light the remaining ones. 1 candle is lit on the first night, 2 on the second, until all 8 are lit. Hanukkah is a time to celebrate with family and friends. The first night of Hanukkah begins Thursday at sundown, so we are in anticipation of the candle lighting. Thank you, Alyssa. I mentioned at the beginning of our service that our calendars get pretty crowded at this time of year. Well, the church calendar is no different. We just lit our Chalice candle, an Advent candle. We acknowledge the coming of Hanukkah. And since it's the first Sunday of the month, we will shortly have our regular Pennies from Heaven collection. But today, you get 2 for the price of 1 because we are also going to have a very special time for all ages in recognition of World AIDS Day, which occurs every December 1st. Kris Kines will share a remarkable story with us.
I'm so pleased to be able to read this story today. It was written by my nephew, Donna Moreno, and illustrated by Hannah Abbo. It was Christmas Day, 1984. Ryan White had imagined he'd be at home in Kokomo, Indiana. Instead, he was in a hospital in Indianapolis. He had been so sick that his doctor had sent him there earlier that month. Ryan was starting to feel better, and seeing his room packed with people and presents, he couldn't help but smile. His mom and his sister, Andrea, returned the next day. Mom had been working up the courage to tell Ryan his diagnosis. From the doctors, Ryan, she said softly, "You have AIDS." Ryan was stunned. He had seen the news. AIDS was a new disease caused by a virus that infected people's blood. When people with AIDS got sick, they had trouble recovering. There was no cure and no good medication to treat it. People were dying from AIDS. Many were gay men. Those were facts. But misinformation was spreading too. Some people thought you could get AIDS from doorknobs or toilet seats. Others thought only gay men could get it. Some even believed that people with AIDS had done something wrong. Ryan knew better. He knew the reason he had AIDS. Ryan was born with a condition called hemophilia. This meant that his body needed help to stop bleeding when he got a bruise or a cut. For his body to heal, Ryan needed treatments made from donated blood, but the treatments that had kept him alive had also made him sick. The doctors didn't know how long Ryan would live, maybe months, maybe years. Ryan worried he'd spend the rest of his life in the hospital. He worried that he'd never see his friends again or grow old enough to drive a car. As the days passed, his fear faded, and after a month, Ryan felt well enough to go home. After a few more months, Ryan was well enough to go to school. Doctors and other experts were certain that Ryan couldn't give AIDS to anyone else by playing or sitting with them. Yet the classmates' parents and the school officials believed he could. Instead of listening to experts, they talked with each other. Misinformation echoed through the town. The more the lies were repeated, the more they seemed true. "They're afraid you'll infect the other kids," said Mom. "But that's impossible," Ryan replied. "I want to be with my friends just like everybody else." When reporters heard that Ryan wasn't allowed in class because he had AIDS, they came to interview him. Ryan wanted the people to get to know him, to see he wasn't a threat. "I understand why the school is scared," he said calmly, "but they should just listen to the facts." The next morning, people across the country watched Ryan on TV. For most of them, it was their first time seeing a kid with AIDS. Ryan's courage was inspiring, and many began to question their beliefs. Still others refused to accept him, especially in Kokomo. People started rumors that Ryan was gay and trying to spread AIDS to others. None of this was true. When Ryan wasn't in the hospital, he was home, lonely. Mom found a lawyer who wanted to help get Ryan back in school. They went to court again and again and argued that Ryan had a right to be in class. Each time others argued he didn't. He felt like the battle would never end. Reporters made sure Ryan stayed in the news. Throughout the country and across the globe, people watched and rooted for him. They even wrote him letters. But in town, people acted as if they wished he'd disappear. They stared and whispered, and they wouldn't touch him. Ryan's lawyer asked if he wanted to stop going to court. "No," replied Ryan. "We're right, they're wrong." Ryan was determined to make things better, not just for himself, but for all people with AIDS. If he was kept out of school, surely others would be too. He couldn't let that happen. After a year in court, he won. The court's decision sent a message: classrooms are for everyone. Ryan smiled from ear to ear. His victory made headlines. Ryan traveled to speak on TV shows. He helped celebrities raise money for AIDS research. Like them, Ryan had become famous too. But back at school, kids avoided him. Adults told them to stay away. It was clear that Ryan still wasn't welcome. He was lonelier than ever and desperate for a fresh start. In the summer of 1987, he and his family moved to Cicero, Indiana, a small town less than an hour away. One day, after settling into their new house, the doorbell rang. Ryan was sure it was a reporter. It wasn't. "Hi, Ryan. I'm Jill Stewart. I live 2 doors down from you." Jill was the student body president at Ryan's new high school. "Now you'll know someone on your first day of school." Jill kept visiting throughout the summer. Finally, Ryan had friends again. Finally, he was happy. Still, he wondered how others would treat him once school started. Jill wondered too. She talked with school officials, and they hatched a plan. They invited experts to visit and answer questions about AIDS. Then the students became teachers in their homes. They explained to their parents about that they couldn't get AIDS from being around Ryan. Conversations about AIDS echoed through the town, conversations led by kids based on facts. The more people knew, the less they feared. When his first day arrived, Ryan worried that the school's plan wouldn't work, that his classmates would be cruel. As the car pulled up, a voice called out, "There he is!" "Uh-oh," thought Ryan. He walked toward the school and saw reporters waiting for him. He expected that, but others were waiting too. Ryan beamed with friends at his side. He felt excited to go to school again. He felt something else too. Hope that there must be more kids like the ones standing beside him. And hope that together they could change the world. How Ryan changed the world. After winning his case and moving into a different town, Ryan White continued to speak up, and the world listened. Ryan inspired countless people to be brave, to be inclusive, and to learn about AIDS and HIV, the virus that causes AIDS. He even helped educate teachers and lawmakers. Ryan lived until the age of 18. Shortly after he died, in 1990, Congress passed the Ryan White Comprehensive AIDS Resource Emergency Act, the CARE Act, creating programs that provided medicine and support for people with HIV throughout the United States. These programs live on today, helping hundreds of thousands of people. We can honor Ryan by sharing his story and listening to experts and spreading facts instead of fear. The end.
In acknowledgement of World AIDS Day, we certainly think about those who have lost their lives. We remember them. We think about those living with AIDS. We honor them. And we especially think about those who support, both professionally and on a volunteer basis, all the people living with HIV and AIDS, including our own Manny Andrade. Our church is self-supporting through the generosity of our members and friends. Thank you for your current ongoing pledge support to fund our programs and ministries, pay our staff, and take care of the necessary expenses that ensure our comfort and the beauty of our building and our grounds. We offer you many ways to give, including clicking on the link on the homepage of our website, setting up a bank draft, scanning the QR code in your order of service, and dropping it in the collection plate on Sunday. And yes, we still do pass the plate. This act of giving supports our values and therefore is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday mornings. No matter how you choose to give, please participate in this ritual by taking the plate and passing it to your neighbor or to the row behind you. Renee Burrick and Marilyn Jones will now come forward to assist with the offering. Kris Kines will be delivering the sermon, Limitless Light, a Hanukkah reflection, written by Reverend Gretchen Haley. Haley. Mea culpa.
The story of Hanukkah, like the story of Christmas, has never felt more necessary or relevant for our times. It is, as many of the stories of the Talmud, not necessarily a story that happened historically exactly as it is told, which means that the story itself is meant to be the point. There's something in this story that is not particular to an historical occurrence, but is trying to teach us something about life as a whole across all time and culture and religions. Imagine the rise of a narcissistic dictator, a rise that led to generations of tyranny, oppression, fear, so that many of your people had been terrorized and even killed by those in power. Imagine, for many years, not being able to gather or to practice the religion and customs of your birth, all those things that mean the most to you being outlawed. And then imagine hope against hope that a small band of rebels without enough resources or enough people, without any real reason to think they could be successful, managed to overthrow those in power and liberate everyone into a new and possible freedom. This is the story of the Jewish people after the rebellion of the small band known as the Maccabees. Finally, these people who had lived on the edge of despair for so long would be able to return to their temple, which was for them a place of security and memory and hope. They were celebrating, purifying, remembering, and reclaiming. The Assyrian army had been defeated and they were free. During the many years before, the years of hiding in caves and fending off arrests, they had missed their great festival of Sukkot, which must be celebrated in the temple, and so now they had returned. They began the ritual of the harvest as their promise with God had required. As they began, however, they realized that the Assyrians had destroyed all but one night's worth of oil for the lamb. They needed 8 days' worth. Anything less would not allow a true rededication or commitment to begin again as a religious community and as a people. After all they had been through, it mattered that they do it right and completely. It mattered that they not let the light go out. This is when we are told a miracle happened, because rather than the lamp staying lit for 1 day, the oil lasted for the whole 8 days. These 8 days are why during Hanukkah we celebrate for 8 nights, and each night we light a new candle on the menorah. The center candle will lead the light, the center candle is the lead light. So we light that candle first, and then each night after we would go from right to left, lighting a candle and offering a blessing. In the traditional version, it would be something like, "Blessed are you, Lord, our God, sovereign of the universe, who has sanctified us with his commandments and commanded us to light the lights of Hanukkah. Blessed are you, Lord, our God, who performed miracles for our ancestors in those days at this time." In feminist and other liberal reform traditions today, instead of or in addition to these traditional prayers, you might offer justice-related blessings. For example, we dedicate this candle to tolerance. Let this candle light the way for us to create a world of mutual respect and tolerance among all people. Or we dedicate this candle to peace. Let us use our freedom to create a world that uses words to build bridges among people and does not destroy each other. We dedicate this candle to courage. More important than physical courage is the courage of our moral convictions, the struggle for the ideas and ideals we hold. Let this light remind us that without courage, those ideas and ideals remain unfulfilled. We dedicate this candle to justice. Let this candle remind us of the others' needs and inspire us to share what we have with generosity and love. I've heard other Hanukkah blessings that lift up the stories of justice or of teachers or that find other ways to translate the meaning of the miracle for our world today. And in the traditional telling, that miracle was primarily about the lamp that kept burning far beyond what it should have. That's how you end up with latkes and other oily, heavy-laden food as part of Hanukkah celebration. But I think it's important that we remember that what makes this story especially important for us today is that there is something else miraculous that happened, something that made the 8 days possible in the first place, which was the choice that was made to light the lamp in the first place, even though everything seemed hopeless, even though it seemed like their effort could not be enough. In the past few months, I've heard many people wonder what they should be doing, how to make a real difference, and if what they were doing was enough, if it really mattered. Sometimes we can get so paralyzed with feeling this that we don't do anything at all. But as we move forward together into the new year, it seems we need to do everything we can to help each other make the choice to light that first candle. We need to find those practices that help us connect with hope, with love, with joy and gratitude, all the things that will keep us from despair. We don't know what the future will bring in our own lives or in the world. We don't know if our actions will be enough, but the only way they could be at all is if we try. And just as importantly, if we keep trying. Because although the celebration of Hanukkah, just as Christmas and the New Year, are these annual one-time events, their invitation to us is to find ways to light that first candle every day, to wake up and take the risk of leaning into love, learning something new, relieving ourselves of some old fear or prejudice, trusting that grace will show up, that a way is still being made, that a way is still being made where it seems there is no way. And just like the nights that mark both Christmas Eve and Hanukkah, it is powerful to remember that there are more and more of us taking that leap, being that miracle, together, calling forth the future in all of its limitless possibilities. May it be so.
Please rise in body or spirit to sing hymn number 301, Touch the Earth, Reach the Sky. Our song leaders will lead us in this hymn. Then please remain standing for the closing words. Alyssa Halliday will return to extinguish the chalice as I say the closing words adapted from the words of Steve Garnis Holmes. May the peace of deep belonging settle upon you. The abundance of life's goodness surround you. The warmth of divine delight burn within you. May your listening deepen, your trust in grace flourish, your joy be unleashed. Beloved, the mystery envelops you, the wonder embraces you. The breath of life flows through you always. May it be so. Go now into the world and live here in the present in hope and in the wonderful mysteries of the season.